Are you okay, Apollo? I'm not fine, am I? Well, now that we have that little fairy tale out of the way, your baldness, your verdict, if you will. Mr. Justice, I believe it's time for a verdict, if you have no further arguments. What's even left for me to do? Apollo! Remember what Mr. Wright always says. When you're stuck in a tight spot, turn the case upside down. He does say that, doesn't he? But I don't quite see how it applies here. Still, never hurts to give it a try, I guess. Let's see. Rather than Jinxie didn't remove the disguise, maybe she couldn't remove it. And rather than she didn't tell anyone about the disguise, maybe it was she couldn't talk about it. Westeros mask is more precious than his own wife. He never unmasked himself, even in front of others. But there are matches where Westeros battle for the way to remove each other's masks. To have your mask torn off is the worst humiliation Westeros could suffer. That's why their masks are more important to them than wife itself. And what about the fact that it was the amazing Ninetales who opened the door? A mask that can be removed in front of others. Can these facts turn things around? We got it all backwards. Apollo? I think we might have made a huge mistake. Your boldness, I see no need to further indulge them in their silly little farce. The defense has no proof, they never did, and they never will. Then it seems I must announce my verdict. Objection. I do have proof! Do you now? Alright, but this better be good, Mr. Justice. We can solve the remaining riddles by turning all of our assumptions upside down. Why Jinxie Tenma mistook Alyssa LaBelle for her father? Why she couldn't remove the costume or tell anyone about it in the first place? These riddles are inextricably linked to Mayor Tenma's secret identity. The shocking secret identity will turn the entire premise of this case upside down. This. Gah! What absolute claptrap! Poppycock and balderdash! We thought the Alderman was the amazing Ninetales and the mayor was Tenma Taro. That's why we believe the mayor killed the Alderman in his lust for Ninetales Vale, and it was the basis for the prosecution's entire case against our client. However, we got the whole thing backwards. Mayor Tenma wasn't Tenma Taro at all. He was the amazing Ninetales. What's this? You'd best explain yourself, Justice Dono, and from where you derive such a far-fetched conclusion. Jinxie no doubt knew the true identity of the Amazing Ninetales, but she couldn't tell anyone no matter what. That's why she didn't say it was the Amazing Ninetales she saw passed out. Even though unbeknownst to her, it was really Florent LaBelle in disguise. The accused and that deceitful dandy are utterly dissimilar in physical build and voice. Little scamp would have seen the difference. Remember, Mr. LaBelle has his very own brand of cosmetics? Why couldn't he fake a different build too? And anyone speaking through a mask would naturally sound different. Why did she not simply pull the mask off? Here we go, we got it now. A masked wrestler's disguise is more precious than life itself. As a huge fan of the Amazing Ninetales, she would never dare unmask him. Gah! This case of mistaken identity also explains the riddle of the locked room. Then by all means, Mr. Justice, answered for us already. First, Mr. LaBelle entered the room where the mayor and alderman were talking. I suspect he brought with him coffee laced with some sort of sedative. Once the alderman was out cold, that's when Mr. LaBelle killed him. Next, he took the mayor, who had also been drugged, into the forbidden chamber. Then he returned to the fox chamber, slipped into some of the mayor's spare clothes, and completed the disguise by donning the Amazing Ninetales mask. With his entire charade in place, Mr. LaBelle then let out a scream. The scream that led Jinxie Tenma to the scene. Ah, so then... the person who said I killed Alderman Curie was... Yep, that was Florence LaBelle in disguise. The mayor never actually confessed. This is no more than guesswork and speculation. I'll stop your jabbering and... No, you twisted, samurai. This time you stop your jabbering and let me finish making my case. Arrgh! Once Miss Tenma left the scene, Mr. LaBelle, still wearing the mayor's clothes and mask, opened the forbidden chamber. So he could drag the mayor back out into the Fox chamber. Also, the amazing Ninetales the mayor saw was... Right, it was LaBelle opening the forbidden chamber. Second time Mr. LaBelle opened the door to the forbidden chamber, he happened to catch the thieving Mr. Filch by surprise. Startled, Mr. Filch in his Tenma Taro disguise ran as fast as he could away from the room. As he did, he left behind him a trail of feathers and tracks, and gave Miss Tenma the scare of her life in the hallway. With no one left to witness the events that had occurred, Mr. LaBelle then proceeded to drag the sleeping mayor back into the Fox chamber. I see. Well, that all certainly does make sense. Then after dragging the mayor back into the Fox chamber, Mr. LaBelle threw the mask out the window and fled the room.
Silence.
For this absurd theory to work, it requires that the defendant be the amazing Ninetales. However, he was the one pushing for the municipal merger. That such an individual could possibly be the amazing Ninetales is preposterous. The mayor was blackmailed in pursuing the merger. Miss Tenma's life would have been in danger if he had openly voiced his opposition. That's why he created a secret identity as the amazing Ninetales. Grrrr! This is madness. No one could possibly hatch such an insane plot. No one except the killer as insane as his plot, and I'd say Florence LaBelle more than qualifies. Foolish mortal, it is all your own peril that you forgot who I am. Mayor Tenma, it's okay now. Jinxie will be safe just as soon as Mr. LaBelle is arrested. You are the amazing Ninetales, aren't you? You have quite the active imagination. Mayor Tenma is not the amazing Ninetales. What do you mean? Well, has the mayor admitted to it yet? But that's just... And even if he did admit to such nonsense, I would reveal the truth behind Tenma Taro right here and now. What? Why, you would dare reveal a secret? My good friend, the Alderman told me all about it. But it wouldn't be good to expose the truth. What would the superstitions now, would it? The truth behind Tenma Taro? What's he talking about? So go ahead, say I am the amazing Ninetales, I dare you. Arrgh! Wait, will somebody please explain what's going on here? Mayor Tenma will do anything to keep the truth behind Tenma Taro a secret. A dark, terrible truth that has been kept secret by the village superstitions. And if the mayor admits to being the amazing Ninetales, you'll expose the truth? Right, I won't have him walking free because of some nonsense you made up. So what now, Justice Dono? Without the mayor's admission, your theory is as useless as you are in battle. I'll show you who's useless. Apollo, don't you dare give up now. I know. Your Honor, I believe Mr. LaBelle's statements warrant a thorough cross-examination. After all, the true identity of the Amazing Ninetales is the cornerstone of this case. You do have a point there. Please answer this court, Mr. LaBelle. Is the defendant the Amazing Ninetales or not? God dang it. Amazing Ninetales' its true identity is not Mayor Tenma. The mayor would never admit to such utter nonsense. But if he did admit to such nonsense, I will expose the truth behind Tenma Taro right here and now. And that would be ruin upon the Ninetales' fail, just as the superstitions say. Talk about out of the pot and into the fire. At this rate, the mayor will be found guilty for sure. Honestly speaking, if Mayor Tenma is not the Amazing Ninetales, I'm afraid I don't see how the defense has much of a case here. And let's just leave it at that, shall we? We all know Alderman QB was the Amazing Ninetales. Anyway, I mean, that's how Ninetales Vale made a comeback. The Ultimate was so popular. There's gotta be a hole in that testimony somewhere, but I don't even know where to start. Since we don't have any proof that the mayor is amazing Ninetales, then we'll just have to get him to admit it himself. But if he admits it, LaBelle's going to expose the secret behind Tenma Taro. We're so close, I know it. The best man crosses down in the witness. This whole case only makes sense if the mayor is the amazing Ninetales. I know you used the match to create his illusion of locker room murder. Nothing more than idle speculation. You've no evidence now, have you? Mr. LaBelle knows what this statue originally looked like. That means he had to be in the Fox chamber while it was still locked tight. Sorry, but I heard about the statue from Alderman QB. If you don't believe me, just ask him. Oh, but what's that? The Alderman's dead. Oh. Looks like the joke's on you, my sweaty little friend. Apollo, you mind if I wring his neck? Wait in line, because I'm going first. Temper, anyway. The only nonsense here in this court is you and your something or other. Tisk tisk. Such anger is terrible for the skin, you know. Beauty is like a flower that blooms forth from a serene heart. Excuse me? Pff, I wouldn't expect a wilted peasant like you to understand. Perhaps this fragrance will help the blossom within you bloom. Back! You liked that, didn't you? Enough jabbering about the blossoms and whatnot. Get on with your testimony before I slice you into a bouquet of cut flowers. Oh dear, please excuse me. As I was saying, the assertion of our wilted attorney here is utter nonsense. Do not gaze upon Tenma Taro. Do not tell others if you see him. Isn't that what the village superstitions say? Exactly. Telling others what Tenma Taro looks like would reveal the truth. That's why the superstitions were written down in the first place. And ruin coming to the village if you free him? Is that a warning not to expose the truth? Bingo! And that truth is Tenma Taro is great, greed inspiring. Is a great, greed inspiring fortune. That's what the whole battle of Ninetales Vale is about. Tenma Taro is a great fortune? Come to think of it. Oh, Daddy, it's the greatest rich quick chance in the universe. Grandpappy told me all about it. Said there's an amazing treasure in there. Could Tenma Taro actually be? Yes, we did it. Telling the villagers that Tenma Taro is a terrifying yokai is what has scared them away from the Forbidden Chamber and the treasure within. That's how the treasure has been kept secret all this time. Well. It seems our ace attorney here has uncovered the truth that must not be revealed. Mayor Tenma looks like he wants to keep the truth hidden as much as I do. Tragedy is doomed to repeat itself as long as Tenma Taro exists. That's why the secret must be protected. As long as Tenma Taro exists, huh? Miss LaBelle, please add that statement to your testimony. Present this. Mr. LaBelle, what if Tenma Taro no longer existed? Revealing the truth would no longer be an issue, would it? If Tenma Taro no longer existed? What on earth are you talking about? Oh, apparently you haven't heard. Tenma Taro no longer exists. But I guess you didn't get to do a thorough search after the key was taken from you. Because when we searched the Forbidden Chamber, there wasn't any treasure there. Really? Well, maybe you weren't looking in the right place. Sorry, but I have the proof that Tenma Taro no longer exists. Take a look at this figure. What do we have here? It looks like some sort of creature. We found this in the Forbidden Chamber. It's an Azuki Kozo figure. The great thief Azuki Kozo used to leave them at the scene of his crimes. Are you suggesting that Tenma Taro has been stolen? Yep, Phineas Filch's grandfather, a master thief, was the culprit. And by that hideous moronic caretaker's grandfather, no less. You! No! My beautiful golden Tenma Taro was... The greed inspired by Tenma Taro can no longer bring ruin upon Ninetales Vale. Isn't that right, Mayor Tenma? The root of tragedy would indeed seem to be gone. In fact, I now recall the Alderman revealing the secret to me on the day of our meeting. He must have been speaking of Tenma Taro, for he said to me, the gold ingot was gone. The gold ingot? You mean the treasure that is Tenma Taro's true form? Recall if you were to scroll in the Forbidden Chamber, Tenma Taro is the yellowish object shown there. A giant gold ingot that my nomadic ancestors bestowed upon Ninetales Vale. In return for that gold my ancestors received from Ninetales Vale. Land that would become Tenma Town. But try the villagers mad with greed did that great fortune. Bitter was their greed, fueled by it was as if they were possessed. My ancestors' gold became as a curse upon their village, a curse of ruin. Thus it was that the yokai Tenma Taro came to be. So Tenma Taro and the village superstitions were merely fairy tales to scare people away. Fairy tales or not, Tenma Taro made quite the mess of things. Yes, indeed, for there is no greater monster than a mortal man's lust for gold. Well then, you know what they say. The love of money is the root of all evil. My ancestors did bring a terrible thing here of Ninetales Vale, a thing so terrible that Tenma Taro, a monster just as terrible, had to be created to keep it a secret. Yet we have naught but love for the little village to which we owe our very existence. Tenma Town would never seek to take over Ninetales Vale in a merger.